everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be testing out some products that are new to me in my collection. I actually got a couple of things sent over from Profusion Cosmetics, and I also purchased a brush from eBay. So I want to test that out. I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the goodies. The things that they sent over was this highlight and contour cream stick kit, and it also comes with a beauty sponge. So I'm really excited to try this out today. They sent me over this blush palette, so we'll see, and this really nice eyes palette. You get eyeshadows, eyeliners, brow products, brushes, mascara, and some concealer. So that's what that looks like. I haven't opened it yet. I haven't even done any swatches, but I definitely want to try this palette out for sure. And then the brush that I purchased from eBay is just one of these. It's kind of like one of those artiste brush knockoffs. It's a little one. I honestly thought this was going to be a little bit bigger, but that's what I get. I ordered it from eBay. I paid like $1.50 if that. It's super, super soft. I did already wash it, and it dried pretty quickly. This is just a gold color. I actually ordered a rose gold, but they sent me gold. But whatever, you know, it was $1.50. I don't really care. And it's pretty sturdy actually. I was very, very impressed with this material. I do already have my moisturizer on. I'm just gonna go ahead and prime my face. And I'm just gonna be using the Wet n Wild Coverall Primer. I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. And if you follow me on Snapchat, you did see me swatch these already. I really like the colors. I love cool tone contours and warm bronzers. It's exactly these shades. This one is very cool tone, this one is very warm, and then for the under eye, it's nice and bright, it's yellow. The packaging really intrigued me to make me want to try this more. I feel like the packaging is really, really nice. I'm not exactly sure how much these go for, but you can most likely find these at Ross, TJ Maxx, Burlington, or even on the Profusion website. I'm going to go ahead and link them down below if I can find them on their website. So I'm reading the back of the box, and these contain 7 grams. I also really like the box. I thought it was really nicely displayed. If you're new to cream contouring, it tells you how to do it, where to place it, things like that. As well as each one of the sticks is labeled. You have your contour, your bronzer, and highlight. So I really can appreciate that, especially for someone who's a beginner. You know, I think they're going to really enjoy this. There's 2 lids, so that's awesome because your product is not going to dry out. And it comes with a sponge. So I really want to test this out with my foundation today. The Rimmel Lasting Finish Foundation. This is definitely very firm. It reminds me of this one that I have. I don't know the brand, but just this typical shape. I've purchased a couple of these, and they tend to be pretty firm. This one's a little bit harder than that. It's definitely not as soft as my Real Technique sponge, and I remember when I used to own the Beauty Blender was definitely a lot softer. So I'm going to go ahead and wet this and see if it gets any bigger, any softer, and just test it out and see if it works. So I'm back now. It sure did get a lot bigger. It's a little bit softer, a little bit more bouncy as originally, but I still feel the stiffness, so we will just see how it applies. It takes a second for it to bounce back up. Now, the reason I chose to use the Wet n Wild primer and this Rimmel foundation is because I tested them out the other day together, and I loved the way my foundation looked. And now I have a pretty general idea of how it lasts on me. So that way I will know if there's anything different. I'll know whether it's my foundation or not, or if it's the new products I'm testing out. So I am just going to dab this all over my face and start blending. It is a little stiff, The sponge is very hydrating, so I feel like I'm getting moisture, and I have dry skin, so I like that. The point is pretty awesome. It's nice and pointed. Get around my nose area. Okay, so I actually do feel like it blended out my foundation pretty good. I don't feel like the product is really going into it. Maybe because it feels so dense. The sponge feels pretty soft, like texture-wise. It doesn't feel like any of my other ones. Where the foundation is, it feels like the foundation is just sitting on top because it feels really slick. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I'm going to use the bottom part of it now to just kind of go over everything. One of the main differences I would say this sponge has compared to like the Real Techniques one, which is like my absolute favorite. This one, I feel like, oh, it's damp, it's still giving me the moisture I need, and sometimes with my Real Techniques one, I feel like it dries out too quickly, so I'm constantly having to spray it with like just any type of spray. I like to use my Mario Badescu, or if I just have a setting spray, you know, anything will work, MAC Fix Plus, whatever you have laying around. But I feel like I'm constantly having to wet the sponge again after I've already ran it under water because it dries so fast. And this one, I don't feel like it does. And I keep squeezing, but no water's coming out. So I really enjoy that about this. I do wish it was a little bit softer, but I feel like it did a really good job. You can still see a little bit of my redness going on, but that doesn't really bother me because I'm gonna apply concealer and everything, and we're gonna make it work. So far, I'm really digging this sponge. I think after this, I'm going to clean it and see how well it cleans, because if it stains, you know, I don't know how much I'm gonna like that. It actually doesn't go back in its little slot, so for sure you can tell it got way bigger. So normally after my foundation I would do concealer. Now this little palette comes with a concealer. I have tried Profusion concealers before. I do have one of their conceal palettes and I love it. So I'm hoping that the two concealers in this palette are just as good. I'm hoping it's the same consistency. So I'm actually going to be trying this one right here, and then I might add a little bit of this one to brighten. I'm going to use one of the brushes it comes with. It just says Profusion on it. It's just a small little brush. With the more yellow toned concealer, and I'm just going to add a little bit. They do feel very soft and creamy. I did just want to swatch them and show you guys on my hand. This is the more skin tone peachy one, and this is the yellow tone one. They feel very soft to the touch. Ooh, I'm liking that yellow. It's very, very brightening on the face. And the concealer does not feel greasy. It just feels a little bit thick. I think this would be good for a more natural look. I'm definitely still my face looks very luminous and glowy, which I'm digging. But I do feel like I need to set my under eye so it does not crease. Before I can set my under eye or anything, I'm going to apply the cream contour sticks, just because you never want to set with the powder and then apply cream on top. It's just going to make it cakey. What I'm going to do first is apply the bronzer. Now, the second lid that it comes to cover up your product, for me personally, it's a little bit hard to take off, so I actually had to use my teeth. Just a little fair warning. I'm going to try my little eBay brush So let's just see how it works. And I'm just gonna apply it where I would normally apply my bronzer. I do feel like this just glides on. I don't feel any tugging or anything. Really easy to use, I would say. I thought it would be a little bit harder because it's wide, but you could just turn it on its side a little bit and you'll be fine. Okay. I think that's good. Now, I don't normally cream contour and bronze and all of that. I have done it in the past, but I'm in no way a professional. So this is just me doing it how I do it, testing this out. We're gonna see together how it works. Let's just blend away and see. This brush is actually pretty soft. I'm just a little scared that it's gonna take my foundation off. So hopefully it does not do that. But I am liking the way it's blending. I don't feel like it's too harsh. I feel like around my nose it's taking off my foundation. So I don't like it for that. Use my sponge and see if that works a little bit better. Yeah, I feel like the sponge did a better job on my nose. Just want to blend this down. I feel like it's getting a little bit stiff. So maybe it just dries pretty quickly. Yeah, I feel like it's getting a little bit harder to blend out the longer it sits on my face. So I'm going to go in with the sponge and see if that helps. And I'm actually going to dampen it a little bit with my Mario Badescu spray. Hopefully that doesn't remove my foundation. So I would definitely recommend doing one section at a time. And don't do it like me, applying it everywhere and letting it sit, just because it does dry and set fairly quickly. But the damp sponge definitely helped to blend this out a lot better. Okay, I like that a lot more. I feel like my lighting is just not doing it justice. It blended out really nicely with the sponge for sure. I feel like I just look kind of tan now. Okay. So now moving on, we're going to do the contour. I'll do my nose afterwards. Okay. And I'm still going to go back in with the brush. I'm just going to rub it off a little bit so I don't get that bronzer on. Blend it out pretty nicely. And I just did one tiny line up here, so it blended it down pretty good. Nice. I'm really liking this shade. I wish they actually had a shade name, but it just says contour on it. I'm gonna add a little bit on my chin and my jawline. Just because we want to hide all of this. And then a little tiny bit on my nose. Now I'm going to try the highlighting stick. Now, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but my under eyes have already creased. So definitely would say if you're going to use the eyes palette and use the concealers in there, make sure you set them right away. So now I'm just going to go in with the highlighting stick. Let's see if maybe by chance this will do anything positive for my nose. This one actually smells like crayons, like the Crayola crayons. I don't mind the smell because it's not like nasty smelling, but just a heads up, if you're sensitive, this smells like crayons. I must say I really like the highlighting stick a lot better than the two concealers that were in the eyes palette. I feel like it really brightened and it blended out very nicely. So I'm hoping it will do the same under my eyes. I'm just going to add a little bit. It did seem to get into my fine lines around my nose, so I'm just going to do a little more blending. So this is what my face looks like. It's still very glowy, and I feel that because because these are very creamy products, you're gonna get a nice glow. If you're not into that, you can always set it with the powder. I would definitely recommend you setting your under eyes